Alright, hello there guys, it's Mercy, welcome back to another video. Today I want to be doing something a bit different because honestly there is so many things that is taking up my time at the moment. I feel like I have to clear up some reviews. So today's video, based on the title, is my top 5 gaming mouse shape that I extremely love. Some already did a review on, some I probably wouldn't do a review on, and some I will eventually do a review on it. And to start it off with the most basic one, and the one that I've talked the most about in this channel, is the Razer Viper Mini wireless. Now I have two versions here. This is a 3D printed Razer Viper Mini Signature Edition using a VGN F1 Pro internals, and this is a Razer Viper Mini wireless with a G305 internals inside. If you guys are interested in any of these two mouse, I'll leave the 3D print file down in the description below, and I'll leave the Etsy store I found people selling this exact model down in the description below as well. So if you're interested, again, check them out. But just to base it off and why the Razer Viper Mini is basically one of my favorite shapes, it's a small symmetrical mouse with side button on the left side only, with a pretty noticeable back hump, narrow grip width, and a quite short body. So with my 19 by 10.5 centimeter hands, I personally claw this thing very comfortably. Now a lot of people find the Razer Viper Mini to be too narrow, and I actually kind of understand that. I've tried a lot more wider grip with mouse nowadays, but still, after I go through like 10 mouse for the week, I'll go back to the Viper Mini and still feel like this is just like my hope. Now the shape itself, again, I think people with larger hand could easily fingertip this, but this is really recommended for people somewhere around the 20 centimeter below, because it could be too small for some people, especially the grip width again. But personally, I have zero issue with the Viper Mini, and even if you are still using the Viper Mini wired, I am totally fine. I respect you for that. It is a based mouse. The Cobra wired seems like a pretty good choice as well if you don't already have the Viper Mini wired, but the Cobra Pro overall is just a disappointment for me personally. I've never tried it, so I could change my mind when I do try it, but yeah. The Viper Mini Signature Edition 3D printer here is basically just a Viper Mini shape with VGN internals. This thing weighs in at 50 grams, this thing weighs in at 58 grams, so about 8 grams different here. And I personally do enjoy using the 3D printed Viper Mini over here, but I'm not that big of a fan of the hole. Like, once I've got used to it, they just disappear, but every time I don't use it for a while and come back to it, the holes kind of annoy me a little bit, but they're not the end of the world. But yeah, so number one wise, I personally am a big fan of the Viper Mini. I have great time tracking, flicking, and my aim has always been consistent on this shape. Now again, not in any particular order, I have the G-Wolf Hottie S Plus. I've always wanted to do a review on this, but I keep delaying it, but at this point I just don't feel like it's worth doing a video anymore, so I'll just put it here. Honestly, just if you like the Viper Mini, give this a try. It's not one-to-one by any stretch of the imagination, but I had a lot of great time with the Hottie S Plus. It is extremely comfortable, it is extremely safe as well, and I think people with wider hands can use the Hottie S Plus as well because it's not as narrow as the Viper Mini. Now the sensor placement is slightly forward facing, so you might need to get used to it, but I personally have zero issue with it straight out of the box. And the weight at 49 grams is extremely solid for something that's actually built quite well for a G-Wolf product. I have a G-Wolf product that creak like crazy, so the Hottie S Plus is extremely solid. Now this is the Hottie S Plus Classic Edition, so it's not 3395, this is the 3370 edition, and again, personally, I noticed zero difference between this and some of my 3395 edition mouse, so no particular issue there. The switches here is using Omron 60Ms instead of using Zippy switches, so as I've never tried Zippy, so I personally never mind, but yeah, the click is fine. Now this is quite pricey at about $110 if I'm not mistaken, but if you like this shape, and if you like the Viper Mini but want it wireless, I 100% recommend this. As someone again who used the Viper Mini, this is a pretty easy transition to me. Not one-to-one, so don't expect you to love this immediately. But yeah, Hottie S Plus, really like this mouse. The third mouse that I want to talk about is the Logitech G303 Shower Edition. The reason why I don't want to make this video, because I feel like a lot of people already make a video on the G303 Shower Edition, and Logitech tech stuff is pretty top notch, so talking about performance, it's not even necessary. So with this video, I can actually talk about the shape pretty simple here. I love the diamond cut shape of the G302 back then. I never tried the G303 because it was a bit pricey, but the G303 remains one of my favorite unique mouse shape that I've tried back then. So when they were reviving the G303 into the short edition, I was actually quite surprised and I was actually quite interested in using it. But after finding out the shape wasn't one-to-one, I was a bit skeptical because it is expensive. As much as I like the older shape of the G302, adapting to the newer G303 SE shape is actually really good. My grip has never been more consistent on any other mouse aside from it. I didn't have to use any grip tape, sole spacer grips, nothing. It is just consistent every time I hold this mouse, which is a crazy thing to say about, well, a mouse in general. It is an incredible shape. The clicks on the G303 SE is actually one of the best feeling Omron 20Ms that I've tried, which is pretty good. Scroll wheel is not anything special, and the texture of this mouse is not Logitech's normal texture. Like, this is their normal texture on top here, which I actually prefer, but the side here is a translucent black that is extremely brittle when you try to take it apart, so not a big fan. But even with a subpar texture, I have never experienced any issue with the grip at all, which is one of the best thing I can say about the 303 SE. I think the grip could be replaced as a better grip. The side buttons is really hard to actuate for my grip style, particularly as you guys can see there. I love the 303 SE. Not for everyone though. If you have a smaller hand than me, I think I will not recommend the 303 SE at all. If you use the older 303 or 302, I personally would not recommend this if you love the smaller size of those previous mouse, which is a shame. But if you can try it out, I recommend you to try it out first and then say if you like it or not, because it could be a gem for you guys. And no particular order, the fourth one is the Zaopin Z1 Pro. I just did a full review on this, so if you are interested, go check it out. I'll put the link down in the description as well. You can just check my channel. But yeah, this is a pretty simple, small, egg-shaped, sub $50 wireless gaming mouse. Incredible value, incredible shape. I love this thing so much. No actual complaint. I just don't use it that often because I'm trying something else, but every time I'm done, I'll go back to the Zaopin Z1 Pro, and I just really love this shape. Again, if you want to go in depth, check out my video, Zaopin Z1 Pro. And finally, the most surprising one to actually stay on this list is the Xtrfy MZ1 wireless. This is a modded MZ1, a different battery, no battery cage, different scroll wheel. So from about 62 grams, it is now 53, which is really solid. And I also use Tiger Ice dots. No, this is the Zaopin Z1 dot skates to use on my Esport Tiger glass pad. Having trouble speaking, but yeah, this really surprised me the most when I first tried it, and the fact that it is now on this top 5 list is kind of crazy in and of itself. It's a very low game mouse with a very high hump on the back, and based on people's review, I wasn't really excited to try this out because it could be a risk. It's the same as the G303. It could be a risk if you've never tried it. Someone was selling this dirt cheap on the marketplace for roughly about 40 bucks, which I instantly picked it up and used it. And at first, it was something I have to adapt to. My wrist was starting to hurt after even just 5 hours of gaming, but after using this for a week straight, man, I love this shape. It is so natural. Again, just like the G303, I actually got quite a consistent grip with the mouse. I actually tend to rest it slightly further back. Now the shape of itself is good, but I personally don't like everything else about the mouse. The hole can be too much sometimes, so I want a non-hold version. I don't mind my weight at 53 grams, but the fact I have to mod it to get to this weight is kinda But so yeah, maybe an MZ1 Pro somewhere in the future, but the MZ1 shape itself really does surprise me. And if you guys notice, I did swap out the scroll wheel from both this mouse to each other, because the MZ1 scroll wheel is 1 gram lighter than the Razer Rubber Mini scroll wheel is 1 gram lighter than the MZ1 scroll wheel, so I just swapped it out. From 55, I get 53 on here, and this is at 1 gram heavier now. Really solid. I'll do a review on this, so I won't talk too much about this for now, but basically this is my top 5 gaming mouse shape, just to put on the list here. It's 6 mouse, but this 2 is the same shape, and this 4. Again, I don't think this list will continue, remains. We will see, because I'm pretty sure something I'll try in the future will change something here, but I am very happy using every single mouse on this list for my competitive play. If you guys can see, Everything here is a symmetrical mouse. There is no ergonomic mouse on this list at all. If you asked me about 2 years ago, back in 2021, I would say the G-Wolf Skull Mini is my #1 pick out of all of this. But maybe, just maybe, the X-Lite V2 Mini will change this list very, very soon. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs up if you do, thumbs up if you don't like it. If you have any question regarding any of these gaming mouse or your gaming mouse in particular, leave that in the comment section down below. We'll talk about it together. And if you haven't checked out my, again, recent video on the Zaopin Zero Pro, go check it out. I think it's a pretty good video. I'm biased, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.